Hi everyone, in this video what I'm going to demonstrate is how to set up Brevitas Application Framework, which is an application framework to develop mobile applications that I've been working on for a few months. So here is the setup process. I will paste the download link in the description of this video. So here is the page where it's published right now, and here is the download link. So I already downloaded, so let's open this and let's run the setup. You can leave everything as it is, you don't need to change any settings. And right now it's not installing the framework, actually is creating the repository, which is like a list of possible versions, so you can install like more than one, because as the time goes by it will be like more and more versions. Right now it's just the alpha version. So okay, the setup is done, so let's run it. It's a really basic application repository, but I try to make it as simple as possible. So in like basically few clicks you will be able to set up everything that you need. So here in releases you will see as many releases as they are, but right now there is only one. And in Visual Studio section you can see your Visual Studios that you have installed already. You can detect them actually. And if you don't do this manually, the installation process will do it anyway. So I will do it here because the application framework requires some information from Visual Studio, so I need to go through all the possible instances of the studio and save some information so I can install application templates and application extensions and refresh the state of the extensions and the templates. So right now the repository installer is going through the file system to locate some specific files. So here it is done. So let's refresh. I only have one. So if you have more than one you will see it. Usually you have like 2017 and 2019. And if you click over this, you will see like where is the dev environment, the templates, the item templates, and the extension installer. So let's go here, and now we can proceed to install. So like I will just highlight it and click install, but you need to sign up first. In this case I'm going to fill the information. I already have it. So my name, my email, and my country, which is El Salvador. Then you click OK, and then you will receive an email with the activation code. So I already have the email, so I already have the activation code. So now I will go to activate. Let's write the information here. Be careful with the spaces. So after you have all the information, you should just click on OK, and this will activate the repository, and the activation is complete. Now we have the studios that we did before, right? And then you have the release that is here. So you just press install, and then it will download about 100 more megabytes, and it will do some setup operations on Visual Studio. It will install the application templates and it will also install the Visual Studio extensions. So that will take somehow around 5 minutes, maybe less. It's taking like so long in my machine because like I just had a problems with my Visual Studio last week, and I reinstalled like several times and so on. So my machine is somehow crazy. I do have to do a clean setup soon, but I didn't want to do it this last weekend because I was working on this. So in the meantime, I will put the video on pause because in my machine it takes longer, and then resume when it's done. Well, the setup is done, and after that you will see a notification here near your clock that says that the setup is done. I will close this. After this, you should see some changes in your environment. So for example, here I have open where we install the repository. There should be a folder called releases. There should be a folder for each release. Right now there is just one, and you should have this structure there. First, the extension. This is the Visual Studio extension that is needed for recreate the application model. Then you will see the library, which are all the DLLs that the application needs, basically. If you see, it's like pretty light. It's not that much code. The model builder for Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. The NuGet that the application needs. Basically, each NuGet represents a DLL that we saw before. And then the Visual Studio template to create new applications. So, well, let's say somehow that the setup is done. But when we open Visual Studio, we also need to set up a NuGet feed with all the NuGets that the application needs. So you can use this link. Actually, I will open here. You can use this link, or you can create a local repository to the folder that is here in the release folder. So you can do as you want. So after that, we can create a new application. But first, I'm going to start the Android emulator so you can see. Okay, we have installed the application framework, and we also install or set up the NuGet repository. In my case, I already have it, so I will skip that step. So let's run Visual Studio. This will work for 2017 and 2019 for both. And sorry again, my computer is somehow slow because of the problem with the studio, but everything should be faster in your environment, basically. Okay, the emulator is running, and let's create a new project. So I have this on recent projects because I've been working on it, but you can just type Brevitas, and you'll see that you have a template for the version 2019 alpha 1.2. So let's do next, and this will be Brevitas demo app. And then let's hit create. And right now it's setting up all the folder structures and the reference and so on. So this it will look basically like any Xamarin application. I will not enter on details right now on how it works. I will create a separate video for that. But basically I just wanted to show you the folder structure. We have the application core, then we have the containers or the applications basically, which are like the assemblies for Android, iOS, and Windows Universal, which is UWP. So in this case, let's reveal the application core first. And now we can reveal any of the other ones. Right now in the application there is some code already that is for a demo application. You can just see it in here. Basically here are objects which represent business objects. In this case, for example, address, customer. This one is called editor test because I use it to test all the UI somehow. Invoice detail, invoice status, which is an enum. So you can see that this application can work also with enums. And in the folder of views there is nothing, and also in the view models both are empty, because right now those views and view models will be created on runtime by the application model. So there is no code or file that represents that, but you can also create manual ones like normal ones. But I will enter in details later in how it works. So then you have the application configuration. Let's check it a little bit. So in here it reads all the ORM types, basically the class that I just showed you, which represents views or business objects. Then it sets up what is called a data space provider, which in this case we're using XPO. It will create a local database and create a local schema basically to save the data. So here is some information on how XPO works, but you can also use Entity Framework and Cosmos DB from Azure. And then let's watch the application. In here we have like the init model method, which creates the views on the fly, or basically we calculate the model, the application model, which is composed by these pages and detail pages. So this is where that model is saved and how it's retrieved when the application runs. And then some setup methods, but I don't want to enter in that much detail right now. I will show you a big tour later in another video. And then you have the initializers. Initializers is that first moment when the application runs. Maybe you want to create some data that is the default data. In this case, for example, I'm creating, if there are no customers, I'm creating some products, then customers, then invoices. So it's basically a startup code to fill some data into the database, which right now is needed because in this version there are some small glitches that don't allow you to create new objects in the user interface. but that will be fixed by the end of this week. So far so good. Let's close all of this, and I'm going to run the UWP version first. So right now it's restoring the NuGets and so on, and it's setting up the local model. Oh, it's not. It will not show anything. It will show an exception, I think, because there is no model. I need to build the model based on the ORM types. So well, let's see how it goes. I guess it will throw an exception. Yes, the exception is here. Yes, because there are no model to work with. So to create the model, there was an extension that was installed. So if you see extensions here, you have the Brevitas App Framework Model Editor extension. So that means that if you click over this file like Brevitas model, and then you right click, you can build the model. So for that, I will clear this and I will build the model, so you can see what it will do. It will go through all the persistent types and generate the pages, the list page and the detail page, and also the menu items. So now it's done. Let's run this again and see how it goes. So here are the customers that the application created, then the invoices. This the application framework already shows like the list pages with infinite scrolling, so it's only like loading like I think like 25 records for each page. So it's not loading the complete database, even though there are like 10,000 records here. You can see the products, and you can see like complex objects, for example, invoice. Sorry for that. The invoice, if you click over it, it contains a list of invoice details and a customer. So for example, if I want to change the customer, I can click here, pick a new customer, I will pick the number 1, and now it's changed. Or if I want to navigate to that customer, I can just click on it or go back. Now if I want to save the changes, I come here, and here there is a save action, and it's saved. And if I want to see the details, I click here. Oh, this invoice doesn't have any detail, because some of them don't have, because it's demo data. But so far so good. So for each persistent type that is registered, there's a menu, a list page, and a detail page. So if I want to go to the customers, I go here. Then I go here, and this is the detail to edit. If I want to see the invoices, this customer have 2 invoices. I can go and see them. So all the navigation is done through the data model basically, and the UI is created on runtime. And that also works for the iOS application and the Android application. So I'm going to do the Android right now. And I'm going to run it in this emulator that is running in here. So let's wait a little bit of time. It's deploying already. And well, this takes somehow time, because you know how the Android emulator is not like super fast. And then my problem with the studio, so I could have waited to fix it, but I really want to create this video. So I apologize for the inconvenience of the machine that is slow. Well, let's see the submarine diagnostics. It's still deploying. And I think it's done. Now we'll start the splash activity. And then run the application. And after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new persistent type and rebuild the model, so you can see how easy it is to create a new set of views or a new form for maintenance of data. And I guess tomorrow I will create the same video, but in Spanish also. Okay, so it's running. And see, it's the same information, because the database is initialized to the same data. Customers, invoices, and the same invoice is a complex object. We can go to the customer if we want. We can go to the invoice details, and so on. Everything is calculated on runtime, so all the views calculated somehow. The same can go for products. And let's see on which invoice detail is this product used. Oh, in a lot of invoices. So far so good. So let's add a new persistent type. So I will go to here. I will create a new class. I'm going to make this public, and this I will rename to demo data, and I will inherit it from base class. And import the namespace basically. If I see base class, basically is some boilerplate code to ignore some stuff that we don't need in the model. So basically that's it. I'm going to rename this. I'm going to add the missing constructors, because we need some special constructor for it. This is how XPO works. And then what I'm going to do is I need to do some decorations. So in this class I have to register as a ORM entity, which is type of XPO, and the key for this is the OID. Now let's create some properties. I'm going to create two properties, name and address. These are really basic editors, both are strings editors basically. And since there is no new button right now or action, I need to put this in the initializer. So what I'm going to do, the initializers run every time that the application runs. So what I'm going to do is, if demo data is 0, if there is no demo data created, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the data space to create instances of this. So I'm going to create a demo data object with the data space, and this will be my brother. And for the name, I will write Oscar. And then I will write address then I'm going to create a different object. Going to create myself, and here will be Rosia, and then we need to check that there is a commit in the end. So yes, there is a commit. So we added the persistent type and we added the initialization. So let's rebuild this, because we need to put that information in the assembly. And it's done. So after we put that information in the assembly, what we need to do is to rebuild the model. So let's go here, right click and build Brevitas model. And then this will launch a separate process that will go by reflection and create the new model. So in this case, if you see, the business object include now the class demo data and with the members name and address. So I'm going to run this in UWP. Sorry, sometimes my speech is not super correct, but it's because I have not slept that much lately. So let's put this as a startup project and run it. And you will see that there is a new menu and the data will be there. Oh, I need to do something before. I need to check if the demo data here is missing one attribute that we need. So let's go to product, and it's main menu item, which means that we have a menu item for it. So let's put this here. Let's import the namespace. Let's rebuild the assembly, and after we rebuild it, we need to update the model again. So let's update Brevitas model. And now let's run it. So here we have demo data, and we have the two records that we created in code. And in here I can put the full name, Oscar Ojeda, and save it. Now it looks super ugly, but I'm working to make it look better this week. I see it refreshes the list, and here, Joche Ojeda, and save, and this is basically done. So now I will just run it in Android, so you can see that the same goes for each platform. And of course we know that Android will take some time, but in the meantime what I wanted to tell you is that in the description of this video you will find all the information, the link to the blog post, the link to the NuGet repository, and basically that's it. Somehow with those two links you can set up the environment for you as I did in this video, and any feedback will be welcome. I'm actually working in this project, so it will be, right now is alpha 1.2, then this week will be alpha 1.3 and so on, and I will work on it well, as much as I can. I do have several projects right now that I need to take care of, but this is really important for me. And I hope you like this application framework, and any feedback is welcome. Right now it's not commercial, but it is a commercial project, so it will have a price in the end. But of course, for the people who help me, like testing the framework and so on, we'll have like some free licenses and or some special discounts. But right now I don't want to talk about the pricing. For me it's about the technology, and that I want to put it out there. I want other people to use it, that is not something that is just in my computer and that will never see the light, because it's quite normal that I develop a lot of projects that are really nice, but they are never out there. So this is one of my goals for this year, to release this framework and to make it as better as I can, and work on it as much as I can. So in here we have the demo data as well, and the same data, and here the same. Let's put Oscar Ojeda, save it, and I'm going to change it to my full name. And save it. And here's the phrase. So far so good. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, and you can write me if in any case, and I hope to see you soon, guys. I will be posting more videos about Brevitas this week.